Good evening, I'm Josh Berry. We're outside the Kent County Courthouse 2 weeks to the day after a judge declared a mistrial in the case of former Grand Rapids police officer Christopher Schurr, who was charged in the death of Patrick Loyola. And now a decision about the next steps has been made.
The decision not to seek a retrial in the case of Christopher Schurr.
Coming up, we dive into today's announcement and bring you reaction from both supporters of Loyola and Schurr. Plus, our Olivia Yatuma is in studio tonight with a closer look at what else we have in store for you.
Coming up, summer is right around the corner, and that means water safety is top of mind. The legislation in Lansing to better protect Michigan's kids and the lessons being taught. Plus, after a rainy and cold stretch of weather, we'll show you what's in store for Memorial Day weekend. And Trump's big, beautiful bill in Washington passes the House, and it proposed changes to Medicaid. The impacts if this becomes law.
From the station with the most local news in our West Michigan, Fox 17 News at 6 starts right now.
More than 3 years after the death of Patrick Loyola, the criminal case against former GRPD officer Christopher Schurr has come to a close. Thursday, Kent County prosecutor Chris Becker announced he will not retry the case after a mistrial was declared because the jury could not reach a unanimous verdict. Now, this all began April 4th of 2022 when Schurr shot Loyola in the back of the head following a struggle during a traffic stop. Loyola died at the scene. In the weeks following, hundreds of people demonstrated calling for Schurr to be fired and charged in the case. Both later happened in June of that year. On April 28th of this year, opening statements in Schurr's second-degree murder trial began, kicking off 9 days of testimony and deliberation. The defense argued that Schurr feared for his life during the struggle over Schurr's taser and said he should never have been charged in the first place. After deliberating over the course of several days, the jury came back deadlocked and the judge declared a mistrial. This all brings us to today. Following the decision not to retry, a rally in support of Patrick Loyola is happening now on the corner of the Kent County Courthouse along Ottawa Street in downtown Grand Rapids. You can see that crowd starting to grow. We'll have a closer look at that coming up. For now, let's go to our Sam Landstra, who's been covering this trial since it began. He joins us now to further explain Prosecutor Becker's decision to drop the second-degree murder charge and not retry that case. Sam.
Yeah, Josh, when a mistrial was declared in the case of Christopher Schurr, it was up to Kent County Prosecutor Chris Becker how to proceed, whether to retry the former officer or to drop the charge and the case altogether. Today, Becker did tell us how he came to that decision in what is perhaps one of the most prominent cases in recent Grand Rapids and Kent County history.
I've made the decision not to seek a retrial in the case of Christopher Schurr.
2 weeks to the day after a mistrial was declared in the case of Christopher Schurr.
And basically what it boils down to is I don't think we reach a different verdict if I do a retrial in this case.
Kent County Prosecutor Chris Becker said he would not try the former Grand Rapids police officer a second time.
And I know there's many members of the community that are disappointed in that decision. I did not arrive at it lightly.
During a press conference Thursday, Becker said he just didn't think a new jury would make a difference.
I just don't see how, when you do your best you can, it comes in as good as you can. Generally, it's going to go worse the second time around, and I just don't see us being able to reach a verdict.
During the 9-day murder trial, the prosecutor claimed Schurr's use of deadly force during the traffic stop was not reasonable.
He's trying to get away. You don't get to shoot somebody because they're trying to get away.
The former officer's defense team argued Schurr feared for his life.
No one is saying Patrick Loyola deserved to die. That is not what this is about.
But the jury was unable to deliver a unanimous verdict.
I think I said before, and I'll say it again, I think we had a really good jury.
Becker said Thursday the panel was evenly split when they began their deliberation. But when the mistrial was declared, they had shifted 10-2 in favor of acquittal.
I did the best I could. I did everything I could.
The jury's indecision, he said, represents how the case has divided the community.
Looking at the facts, quite frankly, I felt there was not a basis to be able to retry this case and have a verdict at the end.
Now, Becker said he stood by his decision to charge Schurr with second-degree murder and added that he did not really consider reducing that charge to voluntary manslaughter in an attempt to potentially better his chances for a conviction in the event of a retrial. Now, we also asked if the Michigan Attorney General's office had the ability to intervene and take over this case, and Becker said that while he thought it was technically possible, he didn't think it was likely, as such a thing was not familiar with him for happening in a cases where a mistrial was declared. Josh?
All right, Sam, we appreciate your coverage today and throughout the duration of this trial. Now, the biggest question after today's announcement was how Patrick Lyoya's family took the news. We know that Prosecutor Becker told them minutes before he took the podium about his decision. Our Matt Witkos checked in with them after today's news conference. He joins us live with how they're processing this announcement today. Matt?
Yeah, Josh, we talked to a family friend for the Lyoya family, and they described to us that the parents are very much heartbroken by this decision. And we're seeing a lot of people have that same sentiment right now here in downtown Grand Rapids as there's a protest going on here. They started getting here around a half hour ago, and this is kind of what it's kind of gathered here in front of the Kent County Courthouse. It's about a couple of dozen people out here. The protest is planned to start here at 6 o'clock. It's a little bit past 6 o'clock, and we're starting to see more and more people here trickle in here. Now, I did talk to that family friend who is Kent County Commissioner Robert Womack. He explained to us that the parents of Patrick Lyoya are very much heartbroken. I also talked to Christopher Schurr's attorney about this decision. He says his client, Schurr, was very much relieved by the Kent County prosecutor's decision. But this really much depends on really matters to the family, that they're just trying to understand exactly why this is happening.
They don't see any excuse for this verdict or for the person who shot their son in the back of the head to be walking free, but we're going to continue to work with them on the healing process.
Womack has been standing shoulder to shoulder with the Lyoya since April 4th.
The Lyoya family is definitely broken by this decision. I also said at the beginning we'd have to accept the jury's verdict. And thankfully, the system charged them, and it didn't stop before it got to a jury.
Family attorney Ben Johnson sending Fox 17 this statement moments after learning Schurr wouldn't be retried. It reads in part, the Lyoya family has not only lost Patrick, but now the hope that former officer Christopher Schurr will ever be held criminally accountable for taking Patrick's life. Johnson goes on to say, what was once a pause in justice has now become a permanent reality. This is not a verdict, nor the outcome the Lyoya family sought. Schurr's attorney Matt Borgola says his client was relieved by this decision.
Never wanted for this to happen, and recognizes the gravity of the fact that a man lost his life. So he obviously doesn't want a retrial, and believes that his actions were justified, but is... it's not a great day of celebration by any means.
Meanwhile, the Michigan Fraternal Order of Police sent us this statement. It reads in part, we commend Prosecutor Chris Becker for his decision not to pursue a retrial of Officer Christopher Schurr. This decision reflects a recognition of the complex and split-second circumstances law enforcement officers face in the line of duty. Now you're starting to see this protest start here around 6 o'clock in front of the Kent County Courthouse. Now, the last time that there was a march here after the decision of a mistrial, they did march all the way down to the Grand Rapids Police Department. Now, when this decision kind of unfolded, and we've heard from the Patrick Lyoya's family and also from Robert Womack, they've asked for peaceful protests to happen in the city following this decision. So that same sentiment was very much echoed by city officials today. Josh?
All right, Matt, thank you. And yeah, this afternoon, the city of Grand Rapids issued statements from both Mayor David LeGrand and City Manager Mark Washington. Both acknowledged the pain many in the community are feeling, including those in Lyoya's family. And they said there's still a lot of work to be done to rebuild trust. The mayor says in part, while the criminal case has concluded, our city's journey has not. The work of healing, of building a more equitable and just Grand Rapids, and of strengthening the bonds of trust between our community and all who serve it, including our police department, must continue with even greater resolve. Democratic State Senator Winnie Brinks of Grand Rapids also issued a statement reading in part, our community continues to experience the profound grief of this tragedy. We know that no verdict could bring Mr. Lyoya back to his grieving family, erase the fears this incident has sparked within our immigrant and black communities, or lift the burden on police officers who face real dangers every day. We also wanted to reconnect with a legal and law enforcement expert to break down what happened today. Some legal experts expected this case to go back to trial again, but here we are. I had a conversation this afternoon with Cooley Law School professor emeritus and former state police detective Lou Langham.
Surprised there's a reason for it not being retried, and I totally agree with the prosecutor in his decision not to retry this case.
Professor Lou Langham said it simply boils down to the breakdown of the reported final jury vote 10-2 in favor of acquittal, and that if it went to trial again, prosecutor Chris Becker would still have the same evidence to present.
So the prosecutor did make the right decision.
And looking back on that evidence, what Professor Langham thinks would have kept this case from ever reaching a conviction were the actions of Patrick Lyoya.
Even though Christopher Schurr was the one on trial, there was no way the jury was going to ignore the over 20, almost 30 commands that the officer gave Patrick Lyoya to stop or to do something or not to do something. And the resist.
Moving forward, there's still a civil case the Lyoya family is pursuing against Schurr, and the question of how this may impact that case.
You would love to go into a civil case with a criminal conviction. And this case would have probably gone forward by now in the civil arena had it not been, waiting for the criminal charges to be. So, no, it does not help in a civil matter for the plaintiffs to have this verdict not rendered one way or another.
That civil suit claims Lyoya's Fourth Amendment rights were violated by Schurr's excessive force. The suit is currently pending in federal court after the U.S. Supreme Court denied an appeal from Schurr's attorneys back in April. You can stay with Fox 17 for continuing coverage of Thursday's decision, both online and on air, and as we update the progress of the demonstration happening behind us this evening. We will follow through on our coverage coming up tonight at 10 and 11.
Turning our attention to weather now, we had a sunny start to the day, but it's been taken over by clouds again. But at least there's no rain. Meteorologist Kara James is here with the forecast. Kara?
Yep, on the bright side, no rain out there and improving conditions as clouds start to clear from the lakeshore. You can see them in the background there, but a lot of blue sky visible in Holland. Also, the trees waving in the wind because the wind is pretty stiff right now. We have breezy conditions for everybody, but the sunshine is helping to take a little bit of the bite out of the air there today. Kalamazoo, 57, the warmest temperature on this list. South Haven at 50, the coolest. But in general, most of us are a couple degrees warmer than yesterday. Some spots, though, like Grand Rapids, have had a hard time clearing any of the cloud cover out this afternoon. Earlier today, right around 10 a.m., there were some breaks in the clouds, but it very quickly rebuilt, and we've been stuck under this persistent cloud cover ever since, and that's kind of been the story for everybody east of 131 today. We're all quite breezy as well, with wind coming out of the northwest, sustained at 10 to 20 miles an hour, gusting to 30. So even though we have some clearing skies and slightly warmer temperatures, that breeze is making it feel chilly. So you will certainly need your jacket tonight. At least it's not raining though. All of the showers moving their way towards the Lansing and Jackson areas. But if you're headed out to the Whitecaps game, probably already there or know somebody who is, hopefully they brought their jacket because it is going to be chilly, but at least we won't have to deal with any delays from a weather perspective here for the game. First pitch starts at 6:35, and the next couple of days we'll continue to see improving conditions, but overall staying cool. We'll talk about the Memorial Day forecast though coming up.
Over 50 people drowned in Lake Michigan just last year. With the kickoff of summer just around the corner, we are learning more about an effort on the lakeshore.